sort of playful in interviews, and sometimes not everybody is super responsive to that, and that could make the interview sort of awkward. But nothing, no, I can't really think of anything off the top of my head. Certainly I don't know of any experiences where I was meeting someone who I idolized and they disappointed me. And maybe that's partly because I go into those experiences with low expectations. I'm not really under the illusion that they're going to be exactly as I hope or want them to be. In fact, I go in the other direction. Go with low expectations, you'll be pleasantly surprised.
Yeah, I think I'm kind of the same way. Do you get starstruck? I mean, you've met everyone who's anyone. You've interviewed casts of every show possible, movies. Like, do you get starstruck?
Yes, I got starstruck by Sally Field yesterday in the elevator, and I worked with her for 2 months. I was like, holy shit, that's Sally Field standing next to me in an elevator. Like, insane. Absolutely, I get starstruck. It doesn't happen often, but it happens.
Do you have, well, Sally Field's a great one. Brothers and Sisters is one of the best shows that's ever existed, also, and of all time. Do you have someone like you would just love to interview that you haven't? Like, who's on the top of your list? I'm sure it changes all the time, and then you actually interview them, and then someone else moves up on the list.
I would like to interview Marcy Walker and A. Martinez from Santa Barbara. They played Cruz and Eden, the main couple. That relationship has served as such an inspiration for me as a kid, but also as an adult. I would love to get the two of them. I would love to sit the two of them down and interview both of them. That would be a dream.
That would be great. Well, one thing I remember about the early 2000s is you were one of the first like Survivor super fans. Like, that's what I remember. Where do you think like reality TV is today? Like, do you still watch Survivor?
I don't. I actually don't watch much reality television at all anymore. And I think part of it is because it just, when Survivor came on the scene, it was special. It was unique. Reality was just kind of, that industry was in its infancy. Now it's so ubiquitous that it doesn't feel special anymore. And there are just so many options that I think I kind of turned away from it a little bit. I was obviously a huge fan of RuPaul's Drag Race when it first came out, mostly because it was something that Kit and I enjoyed together and was a big part of our relationship. And, you see that in the movie as well. But even that, after Kit died, I couldn't go near it. Like, that to me was sacred ground. That was just too special and something that we did together that I cannot bring myself to revisit.
Wow. So like you have never watched Drag Race since?
I've never watched one episode since, and it's made it difficult because I have to say, that franchise exploded after Kid died. It became a much bigger deal than it is now. So it's hard to be in the company of gay men and not watch Drag Race because it's all they talk about. And I'm just like, standing in the corner, sipping my vodka cranberry and being like, I don't know who you're talking about.
The gays fight over the queens the way straight men fight over their Super Bowl teams. It's true. Are you shocked at like what like Housewives, the Kardashians? Like, are you shocked at like what reality TV has become?
I'm not shocked. I'm indifferent to it. I don't really have any interest in watching those shows. Not to pass judgment on people who do watch them. I know they're incredibly popular, and I have a lot of friends who are obsessed with those shows. A lot of really smart highbrow friends who are obsessed with Housewives. But I think because I grew up watching Dallas and Falcon Crest and Days of Our Lives in Santa Barbara, the idea of these reality soap operas, I don't know, I'm a little bit like, no, I won't. Take me back to the 80s. Those are the soap operas I want.
Those are the real stories that were told. Do you have, like, I know you've made, mini appearances in Gilmore Girls and Felicity, The Americans, like Scrubs, some of these great shows. Like, do you have any interest in being in front of the camera?
No, God, no. No, that ship has sailed. And in fact, the appearances that you mentioned were really just for fun and allowed me to have in some cases, an interesting point of view on telling a story, just sort of being part of that behind the scenes process.
What have you been? Because I know there's been screenings of this movie like in San Francisco and LA, and I mean I live in New York, like in New York City. Have you been in any of the audiences just quietly like in the back, like watching all these people react to this movie? And what's that like?
Yeah, I was at the San Francisco screening that was at the iconic Castro Theater, which I had never been to. So this was my first time going to that theater, and I was seeing this movie. It was incredible. It was incredible because people were responding to it, and listening to that response, whether it be laughter or tears. Um, just it felt extremely validating.
What do you want people to take away as they watch? Spoiler alert.
I want them to take away whatever they take away. I don't want to project any of my own opinions or thoughts or expectations or desires on anyone else. I love going to the movies. I'm a huge cinema buff, but I like to go to the movies without all that noise in my head. I like to just, sit down, enjoy the experience, and take away what I take away. That said, I hope people are moved by it. I hope they're entertained by it. I mean, you can't ask for anything more than that.
It was final two questions as we wrap up. It was absolutely brilliant. I'm like a tough New Yorker. I don't cry. I don't cry in movies even, but this one did it for me. I
Oh, I'm
was
so glad to hear
sobbing.
that.
It was phenomenal. Seriously, everyone needs to like see this like 10 times over. It was really great. Like I'm saying that sincerely.
That means a lot. Thank you.
What do you have a current pop culture obsession now? Like, is there a show or something that you just love and are obsessed with?
I'm right now obsessed with Andor on Disney Plus. It's the Star Wars show. In fact, last night I watched Rogue One for like the third time because Andor is a prequel to Rogue One. It's so brilliantly done, and it took me by such surprise. I've liked the other Star Wars shows on Disney Plus, but this one is so highbrow. This one is so smart. And so beautifully captures the spirit and the DNA of the Star Wars universe without featuring any of the iconic characters, which is just miraculous. I'm just loving Andor, and I encourage everyone to watch it.
I'm gonna have to check that out and add that to my list. And final question, like what is next for you now that movie has been birthed? And I mean, you're doing press and you're seeing, but like what is next for you?
I don't know. It's a question I'm asking myself. It's a question I get a lot, and I'm trying not to put too much pressure on myself to follow this up with something, unless that something inspires me, and unless that's something I feel as passionately about as I did this story. We'll see if that happens.
Well, again, I congratulations on this being out there. I loved it. So, congratulations. And I think everyone needs to see this. And I've really enjoyed chatting with you. I followed your career for a very long time. So this has been great.
Very much. Thank you.
Thank you. Have a great day.
Take care.
Bye.